Welcome to the debauchery. We have such sights to show you.
Here's Johnny!
All you have left is my desire for you.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
Welcome back to another episode of Fright Flick FMK, where we watch the horror movies and then we let you know if we would rather fuck it, marry it, or kill it. Hey, this week I think I'm on episode 47 or 48. I'm not real sure. Almost to fucking 50. That may not seem like a lot to y'all, but hey, that's a pretty cool deal to me. Almost like the 50 episodes. This is that part of the week, people, where I need you to, if you need to, pause it right now. Run to the kitchen, run to wherever, fix up your favorite beverage, and then pull your chair up, and then we're about to sit around and talk a little shit about a horror movie. So, like we always do, I'm prepared. I have the Gentleman Jack already right here in the Yeti. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you don't see it, but I have my Yeti here that is always filled with Gentleman Jack when I do this show. Hold on one second. We're going to get us a sip in to get it going. Gentleman Jack break. I appreciate it. So this week we have, if anybody has listened before or knows me, I'm a big fan of independent horror movies. So a lot of times I will sit around and search when I'm looking for a movie or a movie to watch, and I will go to like the independents. I'm a fan of them. For me, it's a big thing that you know, because I'm not the creative type at all, and so when I think of independent horror movies, I you know, people who can have this idea in their head and be able to put it out there and piece it together, and you know, with low budget stuff, and be able to put a movie out there. I find that really cool. I'm a fan of them. That's probably one of my favorite when it comes to horror genres that I enjoy watching is the independents. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy the normal, the big budget, big money. There's some of them I enjoy too, but I am a fan of the independent horror. And for this week's show, I was doing just that. I was looking for something independent. I also wanted something that was free to watch, where you could just stream it for free and it's not going to cost you anything. And this is another one I got off of Tubi. If you're new and you've never heard of Tubi, highly recommend downloading it because it is free and it is a ton of not just horror movies, a ton of other stuff to watch. So just like last week's episode, I think Sweet River, it was on Tubi. And so this week I was looking on Tubi and looking for something on the independent side. And I came across this one. This one this week is called Eat the Rich. It's a 2023 film, pretty new. Had never heard of it. Just once again, scrolling through looking for something, and came across this one and said, you know, fuck it, we're gonna check it out. And made my mind up that there's been some I've decided to do a show when I started watching it, halfway through it once I was done. This one I'd already made my mind up. Like I'm going to do a show on this show because it's independent horror and I wanted to watch it and talk about it. So, you know, I sat down just today. I'm recording this. I just watched it earlier today and did some notes on it. So that's what we're talking about this week. Before we get into this thing, I appreciate everybody who stopped by and listened to last week's episode or any other previous episodes. The fact you even stopped by this fucking shit show, I appreciate it. But yeah, you can check us out on the website. The website has all of the episodes, frightflickfmkpodcast.com. All the links are there for the social media sites. The links are there for the podcasting platforms. All the YouTube is there. There's a link for the Fright Flick store. There's also the link to support the shit show. You know, we have a Patreon. It's very basic. It's like $5 a month, and it's nothing fancy, but you know, everything goes toward making the show a little better. And if you've listened, you know this thing can always get better. But also, while you're looking, if in the links underneath the description, we have the website to another website you need to check out. It is This show is part of the Debauchery Media Network, and this is basically a network of independent podcasters who get together. They support each other. You know, it's a very close group. Right now, we have Criminal AF. They are a true crime podcast. If you haven't heard of them, and if you are into true crime, you definitely need to check out Criminal AF. Dave and Garrett, super fucking funny. You know, it's not the plain old Jane type shit. You know, they go really in depth, and they put a funny spin to it. And for me, with my fucking sick sense of humor, for something to keep my attention, it kind of needs that comedy side of it, and it does really good at that. We also have True Crime University, another true crime show. Debbie, who is a fucking boss and super smart lady, she will get you into some true crime stuff and dive into it, man. Like, but she also makes it where simple-minded folk like me can understand it. So go check that out. The link is in the bio here. If you scroll down if you're on the podcasting. But the Debauchery Media Network, super happy to be a part of that. You know, I'm like the redheaded stepchild in that little group. They got the true crime, you know, bosses all up in there. I'm the little shit show third wheel they let tag along. But they got some new shit coming out, so check that out. Stay tuned to it. And man, this fucking chair I'm in today is making some squeaky noise. I don't know if you're hearing it. I need to throw a little WD-40 on it later. But yeah, go check that out. Check us out on the social media sites. Nothing fancy. I don't spend a ton of time on there. I kind of just put up whatever may be coming next or whatever upcoming episode for the week is. So, you know, don't be looking for nothing, you know, fancy and spectacular when you click on it. But yeah, I think that's it for some of the housekeeping shit. And I think we're ready to jump on into this movie and talk a little shit about it. So I hope you've already had time to go fill your drink. You should have had time to watch this already. If you haven't already seen it, I put up on today, actually. Today is Monday. And I kind of put, man, this chair is squeaking. It's annoying the shit out of me right now. But today I posted it. Once I seen it, I posted up, this is what I was going to be talking about this week. So you've had all week. And if you didn't know, you should be following the social media, and you would know, and you would have time to watch this and do your homework. So when I spoil the shit out of it, like I always do, you will be prepared. Now, if you haven't watched it, pause it real quick and go check it out. It's not a super long movie, people. It's like an hour and 20 minutes. It's not super long. So so go check it out, then come back and listen to me spoil it. Or if you're cool with it, I'm gonna spoil the shit out of it. Then if you want to watch it, that's fine. Go watch it. Now, when it comes to independent horror, I'm not a super smart, in-depth horror guy. I'm one of those that just kind of, I got into it late in the game as I was older. So I'm not super, you know, smart. And when I talk about these things and I give my opinion on something, that is all it is. It just me sitting here talking shit, and if I make it funny, that's fine too. But I'm not a deep person. I'm not going to give you a bunch of fancy, in-depth type, like, I'm just not the feely type, like, oh, this, I feel like when I seen this scene, it made me feel this. I'm not one of those people. We're just going to talk about it like you sitting across from me, having a drink. We're talking about a movie I seen. And Alcohol is recommended. I go better with alcohol. Um, but yeah, like I said, if you're new to the show, you've seen the title Fright Flick FMK. Unless you were born yesterday under a fucking rock, you kind of know, you should know what FMK is. If not, Google it. Fuck, Mary Kill. That's how we're going to rate them. So, but yeah, this is just my opinion of the movie. This is kind of how I see it. Um, I say it every week, and I will always say it. Do not ever base decide on whether or not you want to watch a movie or not based on what the fuck I say. And because I don't talk about it for that reason. I'm not talking about a movie if I diss one to stop you from watching it. I tell everybody to watch everything, watch anything horror related. I've watched a ton of them that I fucking hated. And I've watched it. I don't come across one and not watch it. I'm just a fan of them. So don't take what I say on this show and think, oh, he didn't like, he talked all this shit about it, I'm not going to watch it. I tell everybody, go watch it. Especially independent horror. Support them, man. I mean, it's just, they're doing this a lot on their own. They're going out, they're doing all this legwork and they're putting all this effort into it. So mad respect to all independent horror filmmakers out there. But like I said, I'm a fan of them, and so I'm excited to talk about this one. I texted my brother John earlier, and I told him that this is what I was doing this week because I always hit him up what I'm doing. I'm like, yeah, I watched it on Tubi, and then after I was done, I hit him up, and I was, I'm done watching it. Took some notes on it, and I was just like, it's something, and I normally rate these. Once I'm done, I'll rate it. And a lot of people, sometimes when I start talking about it, can kind of figure out where the fuck I'm going with how I'm going to rate it. And if this chair does not fucking stop squeaking, man, I swear, as soon as this recording's over, I will be WD-40 in this bad boy, and we won't have this problem next week, I promise. So if you're hearing the squeaky noise, my apologies. I will take care of it. And but hey, it's not a fancy chair, it's a poor boy chair. But yeah, this week's episode, Eat the Rich 2023. I'll give you a quick little this is straight off of Tubi. This is the description Tubi gave when you pull it up and you look at it. When four working class friends kidnap a congressman, they find themselves caught in a twisted game with no end in sight. Like I said, hour and 20 minutes. This is a quick watch. It ain't gonna take a whole lot of time. Director and writer of this is Kermit Merle Key. I just like that name, Kermit Merle Key. And so yeah, that is pretty much the meat and taters of kind of what we're about to get into. When I start, I don't spend a whole lot of time on the cast. Some of the names in this I've recognized because of a show I recently did. One of the ones that jumped out as soon as I seen her was I got her name somewhere. Maybe I don't. It's okay. I don't guess I do. Anyway, we're gonna roll. Oh yeah, Morgan Powell. And as soon as I seen her face, I recognized her. Morgan Powell. But so yes, we're going to get into it. If you want to see the cast, you can go to IMDb and places like that, and you're going to see it. I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time talking about it. This movie it's going to have you going, what the fuck, a whole lot during it, because things seem to move so fucking fast. And it moves so fast, and then it's kind of like it's not giving you any answers to some of the questions you're going to start fucking having when you're watching it. Oh, got an itch in my throat. Hold on one second. Everybody grab your drink. Gentleman Jack break. Thank you. Everything happens fast. And while I'm watching it, there's stuff like one scene to be happening, and then next thing you know, it jumps to something different. And it's like you you don't really you play catch up with it a lot. And a lot of the questions you may have while you watch this movie, you're not going to get answers to it at the end. But hey, I do like a movie that kind of lets me fill in the fucking blanks. I like those types of movies. And this is one of those that will have you, fill it in however you want to. But everybody in this movie, actor, actress wise, in my opinion, did good with what they had to work with. Some of the way it flowed, man, I wasn't a fan. It was just, I feel like it just went so fast. And I get it's an hour and 20 minutes, and I don't want a super long movie. And some movies don't bother me if they're long, but this one is one of those that like gave you kind of like no backstory. When everything really started popping off, it just kind of like throws you in the fucking deep end. Like when you were trying to grow up, you didn't know how to swim. Daddy grabs you up, throws you in the deep end, and you figure some shit out. And that's kind of how this one was. This one is kind of a slow burn in the beginning. It takes a little while to get going. I don't have a problem with movies like that. I really don't. Slow burn movies, not a problem. Once it got going, I was getting into it. And then I will get into a kind of like what made me go, what the fuck, once we dig into it. This one takes place in like the COVID time frame. I don't even remember when that shit was. What was it, like 2 or 3 years ago, 2020 or some shit? All the COVID bullshit. Everybody like, flipping out, mask everywhere, pandemic, blah, blah, blah bullshit. We're not going to dig into that much, but that's when this one takes place. And that was a shitty time. And you could tell like with what goes on in this movie, and it kind of takes you there with everything going on. It touches base on the COVID pandemic. It touches base on some of the Black Lives Matter stuff and all that stuff. And so, it shows you just how some of the people were. It kind of talks about how people were when they're like, they're a lot of them can't go to work. A lot of them can't do everything they want to do. How people just start getting a little nuts, man. Like when, it sucked when somebody fucking tells you like, oh, you can't go here this time of day, or you got to come in here and wear this mask and all this shit. I got it, whatever. But that's the way the time frame this one takes place. So I think it's around like 2020 when all that shit went down. But I'm not a historian. I don't know fucking dates, and I don't remember shit. But so I want to talk about this and kind of like from beginning to end. And this is where I start spoiling it. This was going to start off. It starts off like a little, like almost like a video. It starts playing. You got a little music playing. And I picked up on that it was the COVID bullshit times, because a lot of people in the video had like their mask on and stuff like that. And then we open up with a dude taking some shit out of his car. This dude's name is, I think it's fucking Adam. Yeah, Adam. You see a little girl on the sidewalk. She's like tying her shoe or whatever. Don't really know what any of it fucking means. I don't know. It shows you this scene. He goes to, he comes back to his car. He takes out like one of these like super gulp styrofoam cups you get in most local gas stations and shit. Those 7-Elevens and shit used to have it. And he kind of comes up to the little girl like he wants to give her the drink. She's like saying no. And then he just kind of looks at her. You don't think nothing of it. You just think that fucking Adam's a fucking creeper. And then it kind of just stops. And we jump to a new scene. Like, now we're in a little diner. And this little town is one of these little, like, you can tell it's like a little small town. There's this diner. And there's some guys sitting at this table in this diner. And one of them is this older dude. You'll see him. Congressman Richardson is what we're going to call this little fucking asshole. And they just gave off this fucking vibe. All of them sitting at the table. It's like 4 or 5 guys sitting there in this little local town diner. They're getting ready to pay, and they just come across these little smug ass fucking holes that are just these, you see the congressman, you think you're rich, you got some money, you think you got some fucking power, and that you're above everybody. They put this shit off, this little vibe, like they think they are. And I've met people like that. I've known people like that, and there's been in these positions where they think their fucking shit don't stink, and they're just fucking assholes. And they're at she's at the diner. They're at the diner. They're about to pay. Well, the lady comes up to, give them their bill. And I'm assuming this is the time to where, for some unknown reason, she had her mask on. And she comes up to the table. They're all eating, don't have no mask. And I'm assuming this is that time to where everybody thought that, hey, everything is safe if you wear your mask up to the front door. You wear your mask until you get to your table, and then you take your mask off. And it's all going to be okay because you wore it from the fucking door to your table. And because I remember going to to restaurants like that, to where it was like, got to have your mask on when you walk in the fucking door. When I get to my table, I can take the bitch off. And that's kind of like what it was, because she had her mask on. And the lady who has her mask on, the waitress, her name is Evie, one of the main characters in this, so keep up. And so she's trying to give them their ticket. And they're all kind of laughing and joking, talking about like some shit like, oh, we need to see you smile. We really want to see you smile. We can't see your smile. And just the way they're looking at her, just these fucking arrogant assholes. And they're just kind of looking at her. You know how you've seen the look before? Motherfuckers kind of look them up and down and like, oh, you just want to see your smile like there's some fucking player or something. But they're all fucking pieces of shit. And this whole little area, this scene right here, comes off as a bunch of like, just, oh God, they come across as some backwooded hick redneck motherfuckers. And that's just what it came across to me. And that's when and like I said, all the rest of them at the table, I don't know. I just know the main one at the table, you'll see him, older guy holding the ticket. Richardson's his last name. He's the congressman. And so while she's trying to, talk to them, get the bill, she finally takes the mask off and looks at him. Like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then she kind of walks off. And then the dude's kind of like, well, I might tip her $1, And that goes back, a little sidetrack right here, people. When it comes to tipping, that's just one of the things that kind of irks me. The people who don't tip. And I'm not saying if your service is super shitty, that happens. But what I'm talking about, when somebody just does what they're supposed to, they take care of you, do all this shit, and you're going to be some fucking arrogant asshole and be like, oh, here's $1. I'm not one of those type people. I am a tipping person. I'm not one of those that sits there on my fucking phone and tries to add up the percentage. When I see anybody that does that, it annoys the fuck out of me. Like, whoa, my bill is this much. If I give 10%, well, how much should I be tipping? Fuck that shit, dude. Like, they're trying to earn a living too, and so mad respects to the waiters and the waitresses out there. I couldn't do it because I'm not a people person. I could not do that for a living because I'm the type that would just be like, I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't give a fuck about a tip. I'd get fired day one. I know I would. Because I couldn't handle people's attitude. Customer service shit is not my thing. So anybody that does that, kudos, props to you. Tip your fucking waiters and waitresses, people. Don't worry about the fucking what 10% is or 15%. Fuck that. They're trying to make a living too. So that's my little sermon for when it comes to restaurants and tipping. So, but yeah, and she kind of like, as she goes outside to take her a smoke break, and when she goes out there, there was a dude outside, like a co-worker. They're taking him a smoke break too. She's smoking a cigarette, trying to take a little break, and she's making a comment about, to the co-worker, just kind of about how things need to change. You can tell that she's frustrated with all this pandemic, all this shit going on. And, she's just trying to make a living. And so you'll come to find out she goes home from work and she lives with her parents. She has a daughter. The daughter's name, she calls her Easy. I don't know if that's her name, like real name, but Easy. Easy. It's a cool name. I like it. But they live there with their grandparents. With Easy's grandparents. It was Evie's parents. She comes home and you see that her daughter Easy sitting down with grandma doing her homework and stuff, and I think Elizabeth was her name. I think Elizabeth was the daughter's name. They call her Easy, which is easier for me. And she's like telling her mom, kind of like, her grandma saying, well, she's falling behind. And the daughter, who looks to be maybe 13, maybe almost right at that teenager year area, and she's kind of talking to her mom. She's talking to her like this. She's like, the mom's like, you need to keep up with your schoolwork. You need to do this. And the little girl's like, well, she's talking about the pandemic and like, why does all this matter? And she's talking about how the pandemic's going on and you got cops killing people and all this stuff, She's up with the times. And so she's asking her mom, like, she's frustrated too. And I'm just like, damn, little kid, you got too much time on your hands, and that's the difference, I guess, now with kids nowadays and when I was growing up. I was born in the 70s, man, and now there's just so much like internet, social media, so much stuff out there. When I was coming up at that age, man, I'm still running around outside playing fucking GI Joe with a fucking stick, as my gun, and so that's the difference now, I guess, with this newer generation. I say new generation, but like whatever. But internet, social media, everything. So she's kind of bummed out by all of it, and she's saying like, "What? Why does all this matter?" And don't get me wrong, I fucking hated school growing up. I was not a smart kid. I fucking hated it up to the day I was done, and that's why this old boy has no college education, have no use for it. Hated it. So I'm not even mad at the little girl being like, why the fuck's it all matter? Because, I knew back then when I graduated, I didn't need to know what the fuck X or Y equaled. Didn't need to know. I knew that was not my path. I knew I wasn't going there, people. The day they started introducing the alphabet into math, that was when I was like, what the fuck is going on? And so to this day, I couldn't tell you what the fuck Y equaled if you put a gun in my head right now, but it's okay. I'm making it just fine. And, but yeah, she's talking to her daughter. And she's kind of telling me like, mom's trying to make her feel better. Like, things could be worse, and things will change. We just have to make the best of it. She's doing what moms do, make the kids, be better. And then, to sidetrack the whole thing, they start talking about dinner. What do you want for grandma's like, what do you want for dinner? And then, they talk about some fucking pizza. And like, man, I love pizza. And they want to order pizza for dinner. And that had me thinking, when I'm done recording this, my head's itching, excuse me, I'm scratching. But when I'm done recording this, there's a good chance I may order me a pizza when I'm done recording. Because as soon as I seen this, I had my mind on pizza. It sidetracked me for a little while. And so then later that night, her and it's like they sleep in the same room together. Small house, them and the grandparents do what they got to do, survive. I'm not hating people. And so during the night, at some point later on that night, I want to say it's around like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, because she's like, she shows a little clock next to her bed. Evie gets up, gets online, and she's like video chatting with some friends. And, during all that pandemic, that's what everybody had to kind of go off of, man, was fucking FaceTime, Skype, all this shit, to stay in contact. Well, she's online with some friends of hers, and it's like they're doing some online gaming. I don't know if it's like some, how like that Dungeons and Dragons, D&D type stuff. And it's kind of like what they were into. But she's getting online. She's like talking to him. And when I say these names, these are going to be the main characters throughout this movie. We're going to have Adam. Adam is the one I mentioned earlier. when he came up, tried to give the girl a drink out of this fucking big super Slurpee cup. Um, and they're all sitting there talking about just how fucked up things are. You know, venting, man. We were all doing it back in those days. Everybody sitting around venting about just how fucking aggravating the COVID and all this bullshit was. And so they're just on there talking, you know, and it is Adam, and then we have Mark. Mark is one of the friends, and then Joey shows up. Joey is another girl who Joey is the girlfriend to Mark. So Joey comes on, they're all talking. Joey has been working at like a second job, you know, trying to make ends meet. She started talking about how she got into it with a customer because where she worked at, it had one of those rules that you had to come in there with a fucking mask on. If you didn't have a mask on, blah, 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 you know. And so she's explaining how her evening went. And then they start playing their game, you know. They have a discussion about just how frustrated they are about everything. They start playing their fucking online game. Next thing you know, it shows daylight in the morning. Like we're coming to morning time. And they still playing this fucking game. I've never played any of these types of games. I don't, it's not my bag. And so I don't know how that shit goes, but they were still up playing this shit like in the morning when the sun came up. And they're sitting there talking. And one of the guys comes, I wanted to say it was Adam, makes a comment that he knows because Evie had kind of went over like how this shit went down at the restaurant with fucking Congressman Richardson. And one of them makes a comment, I think it was Adam. He's like, hey, I know where he lives. He's rich as fuck. He stays up here in this big fucking fancy area, you know, and Evie makes the comment. Like she's like, if I was a thief, I would steal all of his money, take him from everything he's fucking worth. And you know, and they're sitting there playing their game. Well, it's time for, you know, everybody to go do shit. They've been up all fucking night. And so the next morning, later on that day, Evie and her daughter are in the car. And this is back when the whole, like, you know, they tell you, you know, if you're in the car with somebody else, wear the mask type shit. You know, I fucking hated all that shit. But her and Easy's up in the car with their mask on, and then I kind of understood it because eventually she'll make the comment that her parents are older, you know, so to help protect them, she did not want to risk, you know, them getting sick or anything, because that during that time, you know, they had everybody going to the hospital, being on ventilators and all that. So her parents were older, so I kind of understood it at that time. But then there's parts in this fucking thing to where like they'll all be in the house together, you know, grandma and granddaddy don't have no mask on. Evie may come in with a mask and takes the mask off. And so it's like when they're in the car, they have the mask on, and it was just kind of different. Like sometimes they had it on, sometimes they didn't, whatever. But apparently they're at like a food place that gives out food. Maybe it was to prevent having to go inside. You know, you just kind of pull up, they put your shit in the car, and you go about your business, which I'm all for because I hate fucking going anywhere with people. You know, if Amazon could deliver the exact groceries I wanted to my door, I would never have to leave if I was just a home person and didn't have to just take work out of it. Like if I was here just at home, you know, if Amazon or whatever just drops my shit at the door, I'm cool with never leaving and being around people. But so they get back home. When they get back home, Evie makes a comment to Easy. She's like, what is he doing here? And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, is this baby's daddy? Is this like, you know, Easy's dad? And come to be, it was. His name began with an E also. So now we have Evie, Easy, also Elizabeth, her name. But then baby daddy name is Eddie. And so she goes up in the house. He's carrying the box that had like the groceries and shit she picked up. And she kind of comes in the house. Evie comes in asking, and the first thing she does, she asks Eddie, why don't you have a mask on? You know, and Eddie's kind of like, you know, like, man, fuck that shit. Like, you know, get over it. And he's talking shit to her. Oh, you went to a food pantry, you can't supply for our daughter, and they just start fighting, man. Her and Eddie, while you got the grandparents sitting there, and then you got your daughter. I didn't like the whole. Don't fight around your fucking kids, people. Like, you may disagree or whatever. Don't fucking fight in front of your kids. Let them go to the room. Let them do whatever. Put them in the room with a fucking video game. Whatever you do. Don't fight in front of them. That's just how I am. And so they're sitting there kind of going back and forth. And Evie, basically after it kind of goes back and forth, Evie's dad, granddaddy, steps in and tells him he needs to leave. Apparently, granddaddy says he's got a gun. Daddy ain't afraid to kill you, bitch. He's just like, if you don't get out here, I'll kill you. Eddie gets mad and he basically hits the door and he was like, you know what? He tells the dad, he's like, fuck you and your wife, which is Evie's mom. He's like, fuck you and your wife and fuck your psycho daughter. I was like, come on, dude. And they're doing this in front of Easy, the daughter. He's saying this shit right in front of her. She's standing there. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, in the Randy Moss voice, if you watch NFL football. Come on, man. And he's basically telling Easy that her mom and the grandparents want to turn her against him. And, he finally leaves. Later that night, we got Evie goes upstairs to talk to Easy, and basically telling her I'm sorry what happens. And even Evie still defends Eddie. Even though Eddie said all this shit and did all this shit out there, she tells Easy, she's like, your dad loves you. He would do anything for you. He's still your dad. Basically telling her, like, hey, that's your dad. I got it. He would do anything for you. And Evie's just Easy is just kind of upset about it. Later on that night, they're in bed together. Because like I said, I think it's a small house. They sleep in the same bed together. Mom's phone goes off. Evie gets a little cell phone buzz. And then she goes outside. When she goes outside, she walks outside and then she says, like, what are you doing here? And it's not Eddie, people. It's not the baby daddy. No, we got Adam, the dude that was on the video earlier. Adam's stopping by for a little booty call. Apparently this is a normal thing. Maybe that's her little boyfriend. I don't know. Maybe that's her new, I don't know. But you can tell the way they start talking to each other, it's a little booty call. Because she makes a comment to him. and the way it's talking about like your SUV, like, we're not teenagers anymore type shit. You literally think we're going to fuck in your little car type shit. Well, Adam goes and opens up the back of the SUV. When he opens up the back, she sees, because all you see is a set of feet. There's some feet down there, and she kind of looks at it kind of like, what the fuck? You can tell there's a body back there. As soon as I seen it, I was like, oh shit. Adam done went and kidnapped Congressman Richardson. And he basically tells her that, he kidnapped him and he kind of knocked him out, gave him a shot, whatever, knocked him out. Because then we're at a cabin. This cabin belongs to Adam. And they're all in the house. All of them are. It is Evie and Adam, and then Mark and Joey. They're all inside the house. You see Richardson sitting there with like a sheet thrown over him with some sunglasses on top of the sheet and some headphones. He had knocked him out with a shot, stuck some headphones on his ears with some loud music playing so he can't hear shit. And they're all kind of like, they got to be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you just kidnapped the fucking congressman. We will get locked up for a long time for this shit. And then Adam starts talking to Mark, and I guess Mark was always been one of those, the ones that talk a lot of shit. Like, he makes the comment like, how you always talk about like eat the rich, title of the movie. And so it's kind of like, man, you've always talked about shit like this and, want to do something, but now you don't want to do it, and Evie can tell fucking Adam ain't all there, man. He's coming across a little crazy. Because she asked him, she's like, when this last time you slept? And he makes a comment like, oh, I will sleep when I die. type shit. And at this time, they're all still in the house together, which is funny to me. They all still have their mask on, every one of them, except for the congressman who's under the fucking sheet. And while they're sitting there, like Adam's trying to be like, why aren't y'all cool with this? Mark is like the daddy in the group that's trying to be like, this is fucked up. We don't need to do this type shit. Well, then Joy starts talking, and she was telling him about how her dad has passed away, her mom is on the ventilator, and how she's struggling to get by. And so she makes a comment like, oh, I want to take him for every dime it's worth. Like their plan is like, we're going to hold him for ransom and then get some money for him so we can live better. Kinda. And Mark's still trying to be like, this is all fucking wrong. They're making these little comments like, man, these congressmen, you know, all these higher up people, they take whatever they want, and all we get is the fucking scraps. You know, you can tell they're upset about some shit. You know, they're struggling. And I can see it, how people could, you know, people are going through a hard time. You know, a lot of people losing jobs, didn't have work and stuff like that. So I get it. So I did like the fact that it was a real, like, there was shit going on then, man, to where it's like you wish you could just go knock on somebody's door and be like, what the fuck is going on? You know, get some fucking answers. And so I think one of them asked Adam a question about I can't remember what it was. And like I said, Adam is the fucking a little crazy one. He's out there. And he makes a comment like, if you want to eat the rich, you don't take a big bite, you take a lot of small bites, you know, and you never really get what the plan is with the congressman. You know, you kind of think that, okay, we're going to hold him for ransom type bullshit. Well, then they just take a little break. And then Adam's like, well, let me show you around the cabin. So he starts showing around the cabin all of a sudden. And Joey makes a comment, and it's just like, we can do whatever we want here. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, you got a congressman tied up in the kitchen, and now we're getting this tour, and just like, and for me, I'm kind of I want them, and here's where I wanted to be like, they're gonna torture the shit out of this motherfucker. Like, they're gonna take this congressman, and they just gonna fuck him up. That's what I was wanting it, man. I was wanting it to be just fuck congressman up, because you will hate this motherfucker. Like, because eventually he will wake up and he will start running off at the fucking mouth, and you will hate everything that comes out of his mouth, and you will want them to do things and fuck this dude up. That's what I was wanting. And so at some point they get this weird time. They all go out on the deck of this cabin. They're out in the woods, you know, this cabin. They all go out on the deck, and they're all looking up at the moonlight, and they're all holding hands all of a sudden. And they make the comment like, we've always been in prison. Let's be free for once. And I don't know. Maybe the fact that he's gonna fuck this congressman up is gonna be like a way of saying like freedom. But at the end of the day, it probably gonna backfire and you end up in fucking prison with no freedom. But I didn't really know what the and I was still good with it, because we're still slow burning up to this point. It's still, I was kind of like, what the fuck? And I'm okay with a movie that has me going, what the fuck is going on? I don't mind that. I enjoy it. And that's kind of what I'm doing. Like, what the fuck are we going to do with this dude? You know, I'm pulling for, let's mutilate this motherfucker. Let's fuck him up. Let's you know, pull some fingernails off. Let's torture him. That's what I wanted, because I enjoy shit like that. And so then it just jumps forward to like later on, I guess later that night, they're back at Evie's house, Adam and Evie in Adam's SUV. She's kind of asking him, she's like, why did you do all this? And he tells her he wants to make a change. He wants to make things better. And I guess kidnapping this one congressman in this small little bumfuck town was going to do all that. Um, she kind of smiles at him, and then she's like, she smiles at him and goes, "One small bite at a time." Just like the little comment earlier about the whole, you don't take a big bite, you take a small one. She does this fucking little cheesy ass stupid smile, and then she leans over and kisses him. And at first I thought, oh, finally Adam's going to get his fucking booty call and they're going to fuck in this SUV. But no, I don't think they do, because she gets out of the car shortly after, goes back up into the house. Next morning at Evie's house with the mom and dad and Easy, she comes downstairs. Grandma's doing some cooking and shit. We got Grandpa in there on the damn in his recliner with his computer. He's just doing internet shit. We got Easy sitting there, and Evie gonna come downstairs and be like, "Oh, I got some errands to run. Do you mind watching Easy?" Easy's like, "Well, I want to go," and Evie kind of plays out like, "No, not this time, kiddo." And then Evie's like, "Oh, you must have been out with your new boyfriend, because I guess you seen her the night before, either getting into the car or when she got out of the car." Mama tried to be sneaky. Easy caught her, and Mom's talking to Evie about places that are hiring. Money's tight. She basically tells her, like, I will go out and get a job if I need to. Grandma's willing to go back to work, come out of retirement to help out. But to do that, that means that she can't be there to help Easy. And so she's kind of hinting toward Evie to go maybe check into this place, maybe look for some work. And Evie's kind of be like, "Oh, yeah, But all she's concerned about is getting to the fucking shit that went down the night before, because they got Mr. Congressman kidnapped, tied up in the cabin. And you can tell that's where she's trying to get out and head to. Well, while she's doing that, her dad, once again, like I said, he's online reading. He's on his computer. Dad just kind of blurts out, like, "Oh, man, Congressman Richardson is missing." And then the little girl, Easy's kind of like, "Well, who is that?" And she doesn't really know. And the granddad explains to her, like, "Oh, he's his congressman, but he only ever makes the news if he does something racist, because he does come across, and you see him and you'll hear, this is a racist piece of shit." And so, but when Dad said the family has reported Congressman Richardson missing, you hear Evie go, "Already?" And Mom caught on to that. Mom was like, "What did you mean by the already thing?" And she just kind of played it off. I thought maybe there was going to be more to that, but it really doesn't. So Evie leaves. Evie shows up at the cabin. We got Mark sitting out front having him a smoke. Evie shows up with some groceries. I guess she had to go get groceries to feed the congressman. I would have thought maybe the other ones could have done that, because they're all fucking single. She has got a child at home, but yet you got Mark ain't got shit going on. Joey ain't got shit. They could have went and grabbed some fucking groceries, but no, she shows up with some groceries. And Mark is the paranoid one, because he's just like, "Oh, you went and swiped the debit card. That could be used to track us." And I'm like, "Calm down, dude. Like, she bought some groceries. That's all it was." In the house, this is where we kind of, you start losing me a little bit. To go up into the house, and Adam and Joey are in the kitchen doing this little dance, standing in one spot. You see the Congressman Richardson kind of tied up still with a sheet over him on the other side of the kitchen area, living room, whatever. Evie comes in, sets the groceries down on like the kitchen table. Music's playing. Adam and Joey are having them a beer. They're doing this. They're dancing together. This dancing in one spot. I call it the fucking white people moves, because that's the same type of fucking dancing I would have to do, because I can't move. And they're just sitting there doing this fucking dancing while the music's playing. And then Evie gets her a beer. She comes over there, and then we got all three of them sitting there just doing this. They're dancing together. Like, there was no conversation had when she walked up in there with the groceries. Nothing of like, what's the plan? What are we doing today? When we gonna fuck this dude up? Nothing. Just comes in, puts the groceries down, grabs her a beer, starts doing the dancing with fucking Adam and Joy. And I'm just like, Evie did ask him, she's like, is he awake? And that's basically it. And they're just sitting there dancing like they're having this party with this fucking congressman tied up over there. And at this point, nothing's been done. Like, when you plan on getting his money, you've made no effort to do anything other than have him fucking tied up in the kitchen. And so Mark comes in because he had helped get the groceries. Another bag of groceries. He comes in, sets the groceries down. The three of them still dancing right there on one little spot together. Just these, you had to see it, people. They had the moves. Mark walks out, goes outside to smoke him a cigarette. And you could tell Mark knows some shit is fucked up, man. Mark is not into this. He is not feeling it. And so he goes outside to smoke. And you have this pretty drawn out smoke break that Mark has outside, a little walking around, puff puff type shit. The three amigos are still up in there doing their dance moves. And while he's smoking, he looks over at, you said they got like a little outdoor, little bonfire, little area where they sit around type shit. And so they got this little shack with all the wood in it that you could kind of burn or whatever. And Mark goes over there and starts looking through it. He picks up a couple pieces of wood. I'm like, oh, okay, Mark gonna start a little bonfire outside. You know, they're gonna move this fucking banging ass party that's going up on in the house with the three of them doing the one step dance. They're gonna move that shit outside. They're gonna have a little evening party. And while he's out there, he'll get a phone call from work asking him where he's at, blah blah blah, whatever. But then when he's pulling away the woods, you see something there in the corner. It looks like almost like a little tree branch, like tree root looking cross shaped thingy, almost something from I don't remember that name of that movie. I just went blank all of a sudden. Oh well. But anyway, it looked like this little root shaped cross looking thing. And he picks it up. And as soon as he picks it up, I'm just like, put that motherfucker back, Mark. Put it back. It looked weird. And so while he's out there and he picks that up, I'm like, okay, something's got to be tied to this little spiritual looking, whatever the hell it is that he finds. And then we get the three amigos back up inside, Adam, Joy, and Evie. They're throwing bottle caps at old Richardson. That's the torture we're getting right now, people. We're not doing nothing to scare this motherfucker. No, what are we doing? We're drinking beer and we're tossing bottle caps at him. Just tossing them. He's still got the sheet over him. Hadn't seen nobody, but he's awake. And we're tossing bottle caps. Like, we're not doing shit to get any money out of him. We're not scaring this motherfucker. So he's basically telling them, Richardson's telling them, like, just make your fucking demands. I have shit to do, and he's trying to do that normal type shit that everybody does when you see in the movies when somebody gets kidnapped, to where it's like, oh, if you let me go, I won't say anything, blah, blah, blah. He's trying to say all that shit. And this is a racist motherfucker. I'm not going to say some of the shit he was saying during this little part, but he's a little fucking racist, arrogant piece of shit, and they should have tortured the shit out of him. But no, he making comments to him like, if you don't let me go, I'm going to rape your family and your pets. I'm like, whoa, Mr. Richardson. Whoa, let's back that up to raping of the pets. I don't know, but that's just what he said. And they just kind of laugh at him. All this shit he talked, they laugh at him. And then guess what we do? Guess what we do, people? We don't do shit to him. We don't torture him. We don't go over there, slap him around, punch him, cut him to little cuts all over him, No. We're going to start throwing bottle caps at him again. That's what we're going to do. Get your bottle caps. Because even Mark has come in at this time. Mark, when all the shit talking was going on by Richardson, Mark even goes through and said, you know what, people? Let me get some of this. Let me get in on this. Guess what Mark does? Mark tosses him a bottle cap at him too. Whoo! Boy, they are going in on Congressman Richardson. Oh. And I'm just sitting there like, man, y'all not gonna do shit to Mr. Richardson, are you? And so after Mark, goes all balls to the wall and tosses his bottle cap at him, Mark goes upstairs and he starts looking around, being nosy. While he's doing this, we got some creepy music playing. And when the creepy music started, I was like, okay, we're about some shit's about to pick up now. Cause you didn't show me the little creepy, Blair Witch Project looking little wood thing down there that he found. Now we got some creepy music. We about to start getting into this thing. He goes upstairs, goes into like a bedroom, and then he starts going through the drawers. Little nosy motherfucker starts opening drawers. Opens up the first drawer. I don't remember what was in it. I remember seeing a pair of scissors and something. 3 things were in it though. Just 3 straight in a line, like 3 things. Nobody's nightstand tables are that fucking neat, people. But he goes down to like the next drawer. He opens it up. And you see this leather book in there. Them little like journals where they like leather and it's got like the little tie strap around it. You untie it type shit. That's what it was. So he pulls this leather binder out. He's looking through it. And while he's looking through it, you see these odd looking little, like I said, demonic, demon, religious looking shit. That's kind of what look, a bunch of drawings and shit in it, FYI, they're not going to explain none of that to you. You're not really going to know what the fuck that book is, what's in that book. You're not going to understand the fucking cross root that he found downstairs in the wood pile. You're not going to get it. We ain't going back to it once we drive through it right now. We ain't coming back. So while he's up there looking, next thing you know, boom, Evie walks in. Evie's standing there. Evie walks in and asks Mark, like, why are we doing this? No, he tells her, Mark asks her, like, why are we doing this? And it was funny because he makes a comment about Adam. Adam, the way this thing started off, you think him and Adam were like good friends, like best friends, the way it kind of started off, and he's talking about how Adam is. And then we find out that he doesn't even really know Adam that well. Apparently they met somehow, applied online. He's like staying in his basement. He was a fan of the D&D whatever type shit they played online. That's how he met this dude. And now he like stays with him in his basement. Basically, I'm how he don't know him. And he even makes a comment. He's like, Adam is insane. And he's like, he's going to get us hurt or worse. And I'm like, now I don't, it moved quickly, man. Like, I thought they were BFFs, like they've been around each other for a while, but no. Now all of a sudden, Adam is insane. And I'm sitting there going, well, damn it, Mark, why not just fucking leave? Just leave. And go call the police, turn him in, whatever. You haven't really done anything at this point. You did throw a bottle cap at him, you fucking psycho. You threw a bottle cap at him. Now, you're probably going to get a little slack if you go turn him in. Like, you ain't really done shit. But no, he don't. They sitting there talking. Next thing you know, Evie's talking to him about a fucking movie. And about, do you remember this movie and this song that was in it? And Evie sits on the edge of the bed and she starts singing this song. And then Mark sits down and they start singing this song together. Make some line in the song like Wave of Mutilation. Apparently it was like a Christian Slater movie or whatever. It was just, I don't know, like question marks popping up when I'm seeing this. I'm like, when she started singing, I'm just like, the fuck are we doing now? Like, we went from down there from doing some badass bottle cap tossing torture. Now we're upstairs singing some fucking shit. And then Evie says, like, makes this comment, like, what if all this is like a movie? And then Mark's like, this is not a fucking movie. This is real. And then he puts his hand on her leg. I'm like, whoa, 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 Mark. You boo thing, Joey's downstairs. Evie, we've already seen you trying to make some, you know, booty calls in the SUV with fucking Adam. So he puts his hand on her leg, and next thing you know, she reaches over, touches his hand, and Evie starts talking like some crazy shit, man. It's just like, let's do something crazy. And, she's telling him, like, I went out, I got a college degree, and now I'm all this money in debt, and I can't pay that, and now I'm struggling and shit. And she's like, all this is for what? And then apparently Mark is an artist that we find out right here in this moment. Because she says, oh, you're such a good artist. It's like, people who get drunk and they get real like, oh man, I love you, man. Like, dude, I fucking love you. Like, you're the fucking best. And that's kind of the way they were coming across, because she's like, like, oh, you're such a great artist. You could sell it. And he's like, oh, you're such a great writer. You could write for me. And she's like, oh, we could do comics together. And it's just like that. We've all been there. If you sit around with a bunch of drunk friends and you get that handful of people, there's certain ones that are like that are just like, oh man, I fucking love you. You're the fucking best. And that's kind of where they were going back and forth. And I'm just like, and then Evie's just all caught up with this, she keeps going back to this Congressman Richardson guy, talking about, like, everyone's having a hard time because of him, and like the fucking pandemic shit. Hold on, people. Reach over, grab your drinks. Grab your drinks. Gentleman Jack break, thank you. Oh. But Evie is talking about all this shit. Well, next thing you know, Evie leans in, and her and Mark lock lips. They have a moment, locking lips. Well, when they do this, Adam shows up. Adam walks in. It's kind of like, hey man, it's all cool. Like, he's all into it. Well, with Adam's mind, he went straight to threesome, man. Because he walks up to him, you see him kind of put his hand on both of them, like he was trying to push them back together. Like, he had threesome in his mind. Like, this we're about to do this. And then Mark kind of leaves, and he makes a comment like, oh, I kind of misread that. Adam is now talking to Evie. Mark has gone back downstairs, and he's like asking her, like, about doing some shrooms and getting naked, and then Evie just once again is asking Adam, like, what are we doing here? And then Adam starts singing a little song, and he looks into her eyes. And when he looks into Evie's eyes, it shows a close-up of his eyes. It's almost like they start crossing. It's like he has four eyes. And Evie kind of gets creeped out, goes running out the fucking room. And Adam looks over and he sees the book on the nightstand. Once again, book, you ain't gonna fucking know what it means. Take it for whatever you want, fill in the blanks. So Evie leaves. After seeing this, Evie doesn't go downstairs and be like, hey, Mark, hey, Joy, I just seen some fucked up shit upstairs. Maybe we all need to get the fuck out or do something. Like, something ain't right. No, Evie just gets in her fucking car and leaves. Like, she's driving down the road. Don't say shit to fucking Mark or Joey. She's driving down the road, act like she's upset, banging on the steering wheel, going like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And I'm like, damn, Evie, you're not even going to damn give a holler to fucking Mark and Joey. and be like, maybe we need to get the fuck out of here. No, you just get in your car and fucking leave. Like, fuck them all. And as she's driving down the road, we jump back to the cabin now. We're at the cabin. We have Joey is now feeding Congressman Richardson. He's still covered. His eyes and all closed. Like, she's feeding him, like spoon feeding him and shit. And he's like talking shit, man. Like, you know, asking her like who's all in charge. He makes some fucking racist ass comments to him, back and forth. And Mark is now texting Evie. Mark texts Evie, kind of like, where the fuck are you? Shit's getting insane. I'm not sure where he got insane from, because at this moment, the only thing happening is Joey spoon feeding Mr. Congressman and him talking some shit to him. Not really sure where he got the insane part. So while he's texting her, Evie texts back to him. And Mark takes his phone and shows it to Joey, who was sitting there. Adam is sitting on the couch, just kind of looking out. Mark shows the phone to Joey. The text message that Evie sent back to him said, "Get the fuck out. Adam isn't human. Run." You text this shit now, lady, that you're maybe a couple miles down the road. Like, damn it, you could have came downstairs yelling that fucking shit. But no, you get down the road, they're back there spoon feeding Congressman guy, and then you gonna text him like he ain't fucking human. Get the fuck out and run. I'm just like, come on, Evie. Not a good friend. Not a good friend at all. Adam starts talking. Him and the congressman dude are kind of going back and forth. And at this time, you can tell Adam is out there, man. Like, this fucking nut is out there in far left field somewhere. He has this, like, creepy looking, like, I'm a possessed face going on. And Evie, while she's running away from the fucking cabin, gets the call from her ex, Eddie, while she's driving. She's basically saying, I have too much going on. I can't deal with this right now. Kind of hangs up on him. Back at the cabin, Adam is still talking some random, and you just have to watch it. It's a lot of shit he's talking. A lot of like demon, Satan, whatever type shit, religious shit he's talking. He has this like demonic echoey voice while it's going on. And he's still kind of just looking off in the left field. And Joey's still there. Mark's still there. They haven't took off running yet. And while he's talking, I forget how he said it, that how he's seen this before and how it's going to play out. I can't remember. But as it looks like Mark is going to kind of step away, you will see Adam sitting on the couch, spins around with the finger guns. And if you're on YouTube, I'm doing this right now. The finger guns, you know how it is. That shit right there, finger guns. And if you're listening on just the podcast, you know what finger guns are. You know, look, pow, that type of shit. He kind of spins around with the finger gun. And I'm just like, okay. But then here is where we get nuts, people. Adam, after he kind of points it up toward Mark, turns back around with the finger gun, and he points at like something on this little end table at the couch. Points at it with the finger guns, and next thing you know, we get some purple lightning shit comes out of his fingertips across the room, hits the little jar thing on the table. It goes flying off. And I paused it and backed it back up because I was like, what the fuck just happened? But yeah, finger guns, purple lightning out of the fingertips. And Now Mark and Joey get ready to run because nothing else has made them want to leave. But now we got some purple lightning coming out of the fingertips. It's time to fucking go. Adam stands up, tells them to sit down. And he's got this like, hey, sit down, bitch. Y'all ain't fucking going nowhere. And he grabs Mark's head and he kind of puts his fingers over his eyes. And next thing you know, Mark's seeing all these fucking visions. Like I don't know if he's showing Mark what's to come with the future. I don't know. Like I said, you get to interpret it however you want. He basically tells him, like, I have so much more to show you. You know, it's like the Hellraiser line almost. You see some demon devil shit starts flashing. Mark's eyes go all black, and it's almost like I thought maybe okay now Mark's possessed or something. I don't know. I'm assuming that he may have crossed over now. Evie, now we're back with Evie getting back home to mommy daddy's house. She busts up in the fucking kitchen. You tell she's kind of hysterical right now. Apparently Eddie had shown up, and you see granddad, you see her mom and her dad, you see her daughter Easy, and Evie's there. Apparently when Eddie showed up, shit was going down, granddad pulled the gun on Eddie. And next thing you know, Evie starts singing like a bird to mommy and daddy. She's like yelling like, oh, we kidnapped, Jim Richards' son. And she's like screaming hysterical. And then she just like looks at her dad and she's like, I need your fucking gun. and that whole scene, man, it was crazy. A whole lot of screaming. She needs daddy's gun. And then we just stopped. Because apparently she called the police. Because she did mention about calling the police. Apparently called the police because now we got a police officer showing up at the cabin. And he shows up with a nice looking little Jeep Wrangler. He shows up, radios in that he's there. He sees a car outside, no lights are on. And, I'm assuming, hold on one second. Hold on. Gentleman Jack break, thank you. And when he shows up, they're like telling him, okay, we got people en route. This is that part, dude, where you should kind of like, stand down, hold what you got till backup gets there. Not fucking Mr. Barney Fife right here. He wants to be the hero, man. He grabs a little shotgun. He goes wandering up through the little property area. Now, this is nighttime, people, middle of the night, dark outside. Barney Fife here don't even have a fucking flashlight or nothing. He's just wandering around in the dark. And he goes up and you see him. He walks over and you see he kind of looks, he goes to where that little wood pile was. That fucking Mark found the little, little wood root looking thing. And while he's standing there, you get a shot behind him. And behind him is standing this, it looks like a shark. It looks like a standing up shark. Looks real wet and slippery. Like a gray shark. That's what it looks like. He turns, and when he goes to yell, it just cuts away. You will see this shark. You will not know what the fuck it is, where it comes from, or anything about it. You just see it. Fill in the blanks. And now we're back in the house. In the house, Adam is talking to congressman. And he's telling him, like, this is the end game. It's all on her. And when he said her, I assume maybe he must be talking about Evie. And so he's like, now we got Mark, who's upstairs with Joey. I don't know if they ran up there to hide. They're not locked in the room. They're just upstairs, kind of cuddled up next to each other, sitting on the floor at the foot of the bed. And Joey says, what I saw, I will never be warm again. I don't know. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And why are y'all still in this fucking house? I got it. Dude said stand up. I would have had to make some type of effort to get the fuck out. And good old Mark's like, let me warm you up, baby. Fucking saint you are, Mark. Evie comes back to the cabin. The cabin is all dark. She comes up in there, looking around. You don't see nobody. Congressman ain't there, none of them. Evie up in the kitchen looking around. She turns around. We got Mark, not Mark. It's Adam. Crazy dude Adam is standing there. It looks to me like he's naked at this point because he ain't got no shirt on. And you can't really tell if he was naked or if he had like some drawers on. I don't know. He just comes out and asks her, he's like, well, how's your daughter doing? Evie's kind of like, where's Mark and Joy? And he's like, oh, they wanted some time alone. And he basically tells her, he's like, we need some time to ourselves. Don't you agree? And he kind of looks at her. And I don't know if when he looked at her or whatever he did, it kind of like hypnotized her or made her whatever. But he makes a comment like, we need some time to ourselves. Don't you agree? And she kind of like, I guess like, okay. And talks about hopping in the hot tub because the cabin has a hot tub. Like, you should go out there to the hot tub. Going out there, I'm going to go check on Mark and Joy. I thought maybe he's going to go upstairs, fuck up Mark and Joy. It doesn't show you shit. Next thing you know, we're at the hot tub. Now we see that Adam is butt naked because he drops whatever he had on. You see a little butt shot as he gets down into the fucking hot tub. Him and Evie up in there, and you can tell the way they're looking at each other. There's about to be some hot tub loving up in there. They kind of easing close to each other. I'm like, okay, they're about to bang it out in the hot tub. And as they get closer, boom, stops. Now we're in the fucking bed. Now they're upstairs in bed. They fucking now. Like Adam is, doing his thing with Evie. Real, they like looking eye to eye, a little slow, love making looking shit, eye to eye. And either she's saying it or I can't remember, but there's like, it's okay, it's okay. Oh, she's saying it. Evie's like, it's okay, I'm yours. And I'm just like, and then we get a close up of fucking Adam with these creepy looking eyes, and he makes a line like, freedom is chaos, embrace the madness. Like, okay. Now we get Mark waking up. Mark wakes up and he goes running out of the room. Joey's still there. He don't wake Joey up. He don't say, hey, Joey, let's get the fuck out of here. No, Mark wakes up, starts looking around. He opens the door. It looks like it goes down to a basement. I'm just like, oh, fuck. Now we're going to go down to the basement. But he doesn't do it. He just, goes on about his business. He's still looking. He sees Congressman Richardson. And Richardson is covered with like these tree branch limb things. If anybody's ever watched Batman and Poison Ivy, that shit Poison Ivy, that's kind of like what like the Congressman looked like. He was wrapped up. And he kind of looks at him, like opens his eyes. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then next thing you know, Mark's going upstairs looking for Evie. Mark said, fuck Joy. He's looking for Evie. He goes and finds Evie, wakes her up. She's in bed alone at this time. Adam is not there. And he's telling Evie now, like, we need to go. Adam's not human. No fucking shit, Sherlock. Hold on one second. Gentleman Jack break. Thank you. Had an itch in my throat. And basically, like, I don't know what he is, but he's not human. And then fucking, he tells her, he's like, he showed me things, terrible things. I guess when he like put his hand on his head earlier. And now Evie starts talking in that demonic echoey voice now. Now Evie has crossed over to the fucking dark side. And Mark says, like, Evie, and next thing you know, that shark thing that was outside now sits up in the bed, like that was next to her. Just sits up. And Mark kind of screams, and then he wakes up like this was a dream. Wasn't real. Because now Mark is awake actually with Joy. he basically wakes her up this time, and it's kind of like, we got to get out of here. And they go over to Evie's room to get Evie. I'd have been like, damn it, Evie left y'all the night prior. She said, fuck y'all, and hauled ass. I'd have been the same way if I'm Mark. I'm grabbing up Joy, and I'd be like, you know what? Evie brought this on herself. Fuck Evie, we're leaving. And so they go looking over there. When they go into Evie's room, Evie is not there. Neither is Adam or the fucking crazy shark looking thing. The bed is empty, but there's blood all over it. Mark finally says, let's go. Fuck this. We're leaving. Then he goes outside yelling for Evie. Like, damn it, dude, let it go. I got it. You had a little moment upstairs. Y'all sang a song together. Y'all talked about, your artwork and doing comics together. You had your little sugar kiss. Get the fuck over it. Get the fuck away from that cabin, Mark. Nope. Not gonna happen. While he's yelling, we're gonna catch Congressman Richardson out in the woods now, on his knees. Little wife beater t-shirt on, looking just... They should have tortured him, man. I wish they would have tortured his little punk ass. But Evie's standing there. She has Adam behind her. And at first I thought they had a gun, like a real gun, because it kind of showed it real quick. Then I went back and I kind of looked. Nope. Now we have Evie standing there pointing with her finger gun. And Adam is behind her, kind of like holding her hand. When you see people teach people how to shoot, sometimes they kind of put their arms around them, how to hold the pistol and all this good shit. That's kind of what it looks like. Like Adam is behind her, helping her with her finger guns. And I'm thinking, okay, now we're going to kill her. Now are we going to kill the congressman dude with the purple lightning? And once again, we get the line, freedom is chaos, embrace the madness. Next thing you know, all of the guys that were with the congressman at the diner earlier, one of them was his son. The other 3 or 4, I don't know who the fuck they were, but one of them was his son. They just kind of come out of the woods. I'm assuming when the police call went up, the local, everybody know everybody. The locals went out there. They must have got word of it. So they went out there. So we got the little hillbilly group right here. They come out of the woods with the little rifles and shit pointing at him. And they're trying to help him. They're going to help the congressman out. When they come out of the woods, Adam turns around. Now we get, here we go, people. Now we get double finger guns. Double. Not just one hand. Adam has now pulled out the dual finger guns. He's kind of standing there with his arms out. Like, oh, we about to do this. The finger guns, double. Now we still got Evie, got her finger gun locked in on fucking Congressman Richardson. She still got him holding him, pinned him down, looking at him like, you see these fucking fingers? Don't fucking move. And Richardson is telling him, like, fucking shoot, just fucking shoot. And when he's yelling this, all of a sudden some shit pops off. You see Evie with her finger gun, purple lightning, shoots fucking Richardson kind of like in the head. He falls over. And then we get Adam with his double finger guns. He's pointing at him. He does his little like, and some shit flies out, purple lightning. Down goes one, down goes another. I want to say it was 4, and 3 of them go down. Well, then the one kid runs off. One kid is the son. He kind of just takes off into the woods. Adam turns after all this purple lightning gunfire goes down, turns over to Evie. He's like, hey, are you good? He's like, go back to the cabin. And he tells her that you can kill Mark if you want to. He said, kill Joy only if you have to. So fucking Evie heads back to the damn the cabin. Adam's gonna go after the old kid, old little Junior there. He takes off running. Well, then you see Junior coming up through the damn wood line. He's coming out of the woods and he's running full blown speed. Well, the next thing you know, we got Adam just standing there. He bumps into Adam. Adam, pretty big muscle dude. He hits Adam and kind of falls over on the ground. All of a sudden, Junior gets a really bad stutter. And he starts trying to spit out some scripture to him because he's just like, get behind me, Satan. Like he stuttered that shit out in that old Bible verse, get behind me, Satan. I will fear no evil. And he's trying to like get his gun up at Adam. Adam's kind of looking at him, and Adam kind of like stops. And he kind of puts his head up in the air like the Rock from WWE. Do you smell what the Rock is cooking? He kind of puts his head up, and he makes a line like, that's not fear that I smell. Like he smelled like the Junior may have shit himself. I don't blame him. Maybe he did. And next thing you know, Junior takes the shotgun or whatever and kind of puts it toward his chin like he's going to fucking kill himself. And he's like, I will be in heaven with my daddy. And Adam leans over to him, and you see him coming close, and he's like, will you though? And then it just kind of goes black. Now we're back at the cabin. Like I said, this shit's popping off right now, people. We're 100 miles an hour. It is going down. We got purple fucking lightning, So now we're back at the cabin. Mark and Joey come running out of the cabin. And when they come running out, Evie comes out from around the car. She's holding the gun. And Mark and them trying to talk to her like, don't do this. Think about your family. Think about Easy. And, she's making comments, this weird talking shit like, oh, I've seen it all before. I've seen the now, the after. And it's just a whole lot of random weird shit that's being talked. Like, I think one line was like, everything that lives must change. Everything that changes dies. And what dies will live again. Like I said, a whole lot of crazy babble bullshit. And while she's doing that, here comes Adam. Adam comes out of the woods. Because when he jumped at old Junior, it went black. When he comes out, he's got a little bit of blood around his mouth. I don't know. Did he fucking bite him? Did he eat him? I don't know. But Junior's dead now. And we got Mark and Joey. When this went down, when they seen the gun, they ran back up into the cabin. Like, at no point did they try to get into a car. Like, where the fuck's my keys? None of that shit. They just go back up in the cabin. And they're talking about like, oh, she's still out there. Yeah, she's still out there. And they're like, why are you doing this, Evie? And she's like, oh, it's not about good or evil. It's about freedom. It's all about freedom. And while they're in the cabin, Mark turns around and Joey now has a knife. She has found her one of them good kitchen knives that you see in all the horror movies that has knives. And he's like, what are you doing? We're not going to kill her. And I'm just like, why the fuck not, Mark? Like, damn it, dude. Have you seen what's been going down? You've seen purple lightning finger guns. Like, why the fuck are you not wanting to kill her, Mark? Then Evie, now all of a sudden, just comes walking into the kitchen. Not sure why. I don't know. When they were talking about she's still outside, I didn't know if they had her locked out. I don't know. But now all of a sudden, Evie comes rolling up into the fucking kitchen. Excuse me. And she's holding like the shotgun. Mark trying to be the fix-all guy. He's just like, hey, let's just all calm down. We can all walk away from this. At this point, dude, you're not fucking walking away, Mark. Adam walks in. Adam is now inside the kitchen also. Adam walks in when Mark says we can walk away from this. Adam says, not all of us. And then guess what's coming, people? Guess what's coming? If you guessed, finger guns, purple lightning, pew, fires. It takes old Mark out. Mark goes down. Hits him like in the chest or gut area. You see a little bit of blood splash. Down goes Mark. Joey is now on the ground. Why? Why did you do this? And then she's kind of like, what are you? And he says, Adam makes a comment like, I am. He says, I am. And he's like, that's me. And then After we've just seen some finger guns shooting purple lightning, down goes Mark. Adam goes over to the fridge, opens up the fridge, grabs him a beer. And next thing you know, all three of them sit down at the table. We got Adam, we have Joy, and we have Evie. They all sit down at the table. Like they're just going to, let's talk about what just went down, people. Let's just, have a beer, sit down here. I'll explain it all to you. And he starts telling her, like, and this, it will go into a whole lot of talking, a whole lot of him trying to explain who he was, where he's from, what's his name. He tries to get all scientific with it. It's a lot. And I'm not mad at this part because this goes into, like, I grew up in a very, like, religious household. Grew up, church 3 days a week, well, 2 days a week, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. I grew up in it. So hearing him talk about this, I'm always into, religious discussion and stuff like that. And so when he's talking about it, that it was interesting hearing him talk about it. It still confuses the fuck out of you. You really don't know what the fuck's going on. But like I said, I enjoy movies that do that. So, and while he's talking to her, and he's getting all scientific with fucking Joy while Adam's talking to her, and then Evie chimes in, and she's like, well, actually, and when she says, well, actually, like she's trying to tell her side of the story, Adam stops, and he's just like, did you just actually me? Like, he's not too happy right now. More weird Adam talk. All this is going on. And he's like, I am chaos, And now, next thing you know, Evie shoots him. And when Evie shoots him, though, you see all this other shit going down. Like, people, like someone stabbing him, someone cutting his neck. All this shit's going down with people that were in the cabin at the time who were all actually dead at this time. It's a whole lot of shit going on, but it's not real. And he's basically telling him, like, how he was created, a lady, someone, a female, girl, whatever, created him. And basically he is, like, at all places, at all times, and he just wants to rest and be whole again, and I take it for what it is. I really still don't know what the fuck went down. I took it as, like, I don't know what I took it as, but I think my phone just tried to ring. But I was like, did my camera just screw up? I don't know what happened to this thing. Damn Mac kicked off like a damn FaceTime going on. But damn, I lost my track of thought. But while all this is going on, I'm not going to edit this out, people. I don't edit nothing. I just kind of roll with it. But it was a phone call that came in. No big deal. I will get back to it. But he's talking all this stuff to her. And he's telling her, like, he just wants to, be at one place. And I don't know if he, like, converts them over to, like, to his side of things. I don't know what goes on. But all I know is the next morning you see Joy pulls up at a park, and she gets out of her car. She looks over at these kids playing in the park. And I'm sitting there going, what the fuck is this? Because I don't remember at any point talking about Joy having kids or anything. But she's, like, looking over at the park, and she's standing there in her car, and she does this, like, creepy ass smile, like this really big smile. And I'm just like, okay. And then we jump to Evie. Evie gets up. She's back home now. And mom's like, where have you been? Where have you been all night? What are you thinking? And Easy comes up to her and hugs her. Next thing you know, Evie's doing this fucking big smile on her face. And I'm just like, did this dude just possess both of them? I don't know. I was confused. Maybe it's just too smart for me. Maybe that's a lot of it. Maybe it was just one of those that was too smart for this guy. But I will say this, after the credits, this is where the credits start rolling. Like, it literally, you see Joey smile, you get Evie smile, credits roll. There is an after credits, so stick with it when it goes off, a little something after at the end of it. You'll get to see some more finger guns, people. some more purple lightning, that type of shit. So stick with it after the credits. Now, that's how Eat the Rich goes. Now I know as I talked about this, you're probably wondering, I don't know how he's going to go with this thing because I enjoyed talking about it and joking about it and shit like that. But so you're kind of wondering. But for me, my rating on this one, this is a 100% kill for me. This is the sea donkey that I don't ever want to bump into again. It just, I like movies that let me fill in the blank, but this one is just, God, I think I was with it to the fucking, and I enjoy a good finger gun, that type of shit. But oh, it lost me. I was not a fan. I'm not mad I watched it. You know, I appreciate watching any horror movie. But it's a kill. I don't want to see it again. I don't want to sit down with anybody. If they want to watch it, I'd be like, hey, you can watch it on Tubi, go check it out. And then talk to me about how, then we'll talk about it after you watch it. You know, I don't need to watch it again. But like I say, every fucking show, every movie I've talked about, go watch it. I'm telling you, go check it out. I will never tell you to not watch a horror movie. I will tell you to check it out. Have your own opinion. Like, this is my opinion. This is me just talking shit from my, warped-minded, simple-minded self. It's just me talking. So, yeah, go check this one out. It's free on Tubi. It's not going to cost you a thing. I want to know how you feel about it. Maybe you can have your own interpretation of how this bad boy went down or what the fuck Adam was talking about. But, hey, finger guns, man. Finger guns. It's worth the watch just to get to the part with the finger guns and the purple lightning. That shit. Worth the watch. So, yep, go check it out. Free on Tubi. Eat the Rich 2023. Be sure to stop by. Let me know what you think. Be sure to, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, leave us a review. Leave us a comment, something. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all hanging around, listening to me talk a little shit about this movie. Go check it out on your own now. Tubi, Eat the Rich. All right, people. We've reached the end of this episode. This is the part of the show where I need you all to reach over, grab your drinks. Take a little one more sip with me, people. One more. Gentleman Jack, thank you. Grab your drinks, grab your shit, put your chairs away, and get the fuck out of here.